go. Okay, so session 2, session 1 was how to make sure your wife is happy. So let's just do a quick synopsis of what we said last week. Men and women are
different.
How different? Very different. Why? Because women are relationship beings. And if women are relationship beings, then men are not. Okay, so the man is not a relationship being, then what does he need?
A job.
He needs a job. And what's his job?
To please them.
To make his wife
Happy.
happy. Happy when? All the time. All the time. Okay, so how does he make your wife happy? 3 A's. What are the 3 A's? Attention, affection, appreciation. Attention, what does that include? Eye contact. You gotta look into her eyes when you speak to her. Huh?
20 minutes.
Oh, 20 minutes, you wish. Sorry, I only did 19, I have to start again. 2 minutes eye contact, we said, is an exercise. 20 minutes attention. You come home, you haven't come home. Man hasn't come home, he has to see what his wife wants in those 20 minutes, like we explained last week. Affection, affectionate tones, affectionate touch, meaning touch which is non-essential or have anything to do, which leads on to something else, because women think, oh, he touched me, what does that mean now? It's starting a process, right? No, it's just like a child and a parent, yeah? And a woman needs that. We said these are all the things that a woman needs in order to function every day and feel normal. If a woman doesn't have these things, then she doesn't feel satisfied. She's not going to be happy. And the goal is to make her happy. And here the rabbis are telling us, it's actually Moshe Aaron Stern, and Abba Shalom, he taught me when I got married, he taught all the boys in me. He was an incredible educator, the main student of Rav Elia Lapian, if anyone knows who he was. That's Diane Lapian's grandfather. And at the end of the day, it really works. We've said this again and again, we've isolated the key issues. I mean, ask a woman, if you had attention, affection, appreciation, would you be happy? And thank God no one said no until now. Otherwise we'd have to rewrite the whole seminar. Okay? Attention, affection, appreciation. That was the attention. Affection, we said, affection tells us so you can't talk to her like it's a business deal or like a parent to a child. This is all last week. Right? And then we said appreciation we didn't do. That's right, we didn't actually do it yet. We didn't finish it. And we said the acronym for attention, for appreciation is GIRL. I don't think we actually went into it, but we'll do it now. And then we'll go to the next one. GIRL is gratitude, importance, respect and language. Okay? Gratitude, we've got this magic drawer. Man wakes up in the morning, he opens the drawer, he's got freshly laundered socks, we've got t-shirts, just appeared over there. How did it get there? I don't know, I left it somewhere and it turns out it's in my magic box. I open my magic box and it's there. Okay? Which is fine if that's the, usually women, I'm not saying women have to do the laundry, I'm not saying that at all, but if that is often the case, fine. That's fine. No one's complaining, she's not complaining and he's not complaining, right? How about saying, thank you? Right? Now, not because in halakha you have to always show appreciation, please and thank you and be polite. No. Because a woman is doing that, and if you say that, it doesn't cost anything, and here's a great way to make her happy, right? And if you don't, if a certain point will come along when she realizes, you have never, ever thanked me for that, right? She's going to come to the conclusion, there's no gratitude in this relationship. And that's going to be a problem. It's going to be lacking in the appreciation. Attention, affection, appreciation. Okay, so it's neat like you've got petrol in a car. You have to give a woman gratitude. That's what we're suggesting. Because without it, she doesn't function well. She needs it. Yeah, not because she wants to be thanked, so her head will blow up. No, it's not because, it's not like a man who needs, we're going to say his ego. We're going to learn about egos today, men's egos, right? It's not because of that. It's because she feels worth. Self-worth, I must tell you, so this isn't part of the course, but self-worth is a really important issue. It's only being really expanded upon and discovered now in these years. For example, if anybody has any familiarity with eating disorders, right, in women, traditionally they always said it's because she wants to look like a magazine woman, right? And now all these myths are being dispelled, and eventually there's no cases of a woman that becomes anorexic or has an eating disorder because she actually wants to look like a model in a magazine. And if it is, it's only symptomatic of something much more than that. And one of the causes which are still being worked on, I want to understand why it happens, because there's girls the age of 9 that are anorexic now, which are a lot of them, a huge amount in our generation, more than other generations. And it doesn't happen in India, it doesn't happen in China, it happens in the West. Okay? And whatever it is, it's causing it. So they assumed it must be the Western values, which is like, I mean, how many girls of 9 now are looking at cover magazines and trying to look at this? It's too young. Say 15, say 13, but 9. So one of the things which have been pinpointed is self-worth. You know, when you say to a young girl, oh, look at the pretty girl. Oh, you're such a pretty girl, you know. And it's just what people do. I remember somebody pinching my cheek saying, a cute boy, you know, Mordechai, you know, and to a girl you say, pretty girl, okay. So she's growing up thinking, if you want to be a really good girl, you have to be a pretty girl. Otherwise, you're not a good girl. You're a bad girl. You're lacking in a girl. You're not a perfect girl. Yeah? And then she begins to not realise there's so many more important things in life than being just a pretty girl. Right? You've got talents, career, you've got abilities, you're loving, you're generous, you're kind, you know, you're an amazing person to be with, you know, all these other talents a person has all gets forgotten. And she's only measured herself, am I a pretty girl or not a pretty girl? Yeah, and their self-worth is out the window. So, because we always talked about self-esteem, self-confidence, motivation, positive mental attitude, these are all issues in life coaching and in motivation. But now a big area that's becoming more and more the importance of being you know, isolated is that self-worth. The person has to I have to feel that I'm worth something. I can do this and I can do that and I can do that. I've got to be humble as well, right? I'm really good at being humble. What a show off. Okay, but at the end of the day, a person has to know what they are worth, their self-worth. Okay, and so a woman in particular always has to have the self-worth. When you say to her, I really, really appreciate that this drawer suddenly fills up. You know, so she feels, oh, you noticed. That's it. You noticed. It was worth doing it. I'll do it anyway. I'm not asking for it. But the fact that I know that you appreciated it makes everything wow. You know, it's wow now. That's what's important over here. Next one, importance. Okay, I think we may have talked about this last week. I can't remember at this stage. But what's important to a woman has to become important to the man in order to fulfill this part of the appreciation. Okay, if you don't like going shopping and watching all those women parking their cars for hours, trying to do a simple maneuver, or going from shop to shop, right, often missing out on certain things which are in the shop just because they're browsing, that's how they browse, and I don't know what the science to it is exactly. I go shopping, I go in and out, you know, I do a quick scan, this one's got nothing, and I don't even go shopping anymore, right, it doesn't interest me, but many people enjoy shopping. I'm not saying shopping is a bad thing. Okay, but it's not something that I would want to do on a date. Okay, if I was going out with somebody for the first time on a shidduch, I wouldn't want to go shopping. It's not interesting for me, right? It's like get it over with and done. And now I did well. I go hunting and I come back with the animal. Got the game. Here it is. Look, you know, it was such a mitzvah. It was half price. It was fantastic. Now I feel good, right? I'm a man. I did it, right? I cheated the system and I came back with more. Right? I pushed it to its limits. Okay. Whereas a woman could go shopping for hours and come back and say, I had a really good time. You say, what did you buy? Oh, nothing really. It was really nice looking at it and watching. It was really good. We bonded, we went from shop, we had a coffee, we sat there. I can't think of a worse place. This is me. I'm not saying anyone should copy it. I can't think of a worse place to sit down and have a coffee and relax than Brent Cross. It's just like, what are you relaxing about? All these people doing nothing with their lives, you know, just wasting their husband, their money, their family's money or whatever. I'm judging people, but I'm just saying it in a pun, in a tongue-in-cheek. But if it's important to your wife that there's something coming up and she wants a dress and she wants you to go with her shopping, fine. You know, it's different. The man's job here isn't to go shopping and enjoy it. It's to make his wife feel the appreciation of what's important to her. You like this dress? That one looks good on you. I like it. It's good. You like that dress? I don't mind that you like it, but it's not my favourite one. You can say that. It's fine. Okay? But it's important that she feels that what's important to her is important to you. If she's done a presentation and she wants you there in the audience, it's really important. You know, it's a really amazing thing to be there, to give her the chizuk, to give her the support, because it's important to her. Okay? You're having a conversation and she says, you know, I must tell you, I'm really, really upset about something that happened today, that I heard that so-and-so incident happened. And you say, oh, that's terrible. Please remind me to take the car to the mechanic. Like we said this last week. So I just dismissed what she was talking about with no interest whatsoever. So she doesn't feel very much valued. Okay, it could be with time she will learn to see what you enjoy talking about more and less, and she'll maybe be more selective about what she discusses and wants to spend time talking about in the available time that we have, because society is such as it is today. We don't have much time, and we'll see later on in some of the expectations of women over men, not in the communication, please God, in that session, how women assume so much and spend so much time thinking that the husband is like a friend, and therefore they use time that really would be better used with a friend, because it's not really a good use of time, let's put it that way. Not because it's wrong, there's no wrong and right, it's just being clever and saying, if I'm going to sit there for half an hour telling my husband all the details of what the simcha was like, as we mentioned as an example, then he's going to sit there getting bored. He's not going to do it. He's only going to do it because he loves me. He's not going to do it because he enjoys doing it, right? Whereas if we went into something that we both enjoy, it might be different. Or if you go out for a meal in a restaurant, which might come seldomly, and you're sitting there now, you've got, half an hour to spend together. How are you going to spend it? Talking about something totally uninteresting, for the husband and for the wife, one does. Whatever it is, if a woman, particularly a woman, feels that something is important, it's her husband's job to try and make it important. Make it important so that she doesn't feel silly or unappreciated. That's the word. So she says to you, the word that you don't want to hear, the sentence, which dress do you think suits me most, right? It's a killer, because you can never win with that one. Okay? So it's important to her. So I have to make it something which is important to me. Otherwise she's not going to feel appreciated. That's the point. We don't want her to think that I don't care. If she's doing something all the time that's irritating me, I'm going to have to say to her, look, please stop doing that thing in the nicest way. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about everyday life, where everything that's going generally around us, we have to try and make it important. That is importance. So girl, remember, gratitude, importance. Next one is respect. So respect is very similar to the importance, because things which are important to her, we want to show them that they're important to me as well, so she feels that the appreciation, which is going to make her happy and enhance the love. As we keep on going back to, that's our mantra, our approach. But the problem is that sometimes, even if we show it's important, we don't show respect. That's the next stage. Because sometimes we like to make jokes, and we make so much jokes, and the woman actually is laughing because I made the joke, she wants me to feel good and be polite, but she's beginning to feel actually disrespected. If this is important to me, and it's not important to you, right? By making it known to me that it's not important, putting it down and belittling it and rubbishing it all the time, making jokes about it, eventually she's going to feel he just doesn't respect what I feel is important. It comes after making important is one thing, but actually respecting it is another issue. And this particularly comes in two areas. Yeah, that respecting a woman's opinion is very important in halakha, because it says in Shulchan Aruch, if a woman, it says in the pasuk that when Hashem created the woman, it says v'yiven et hasela, he built the rib from Adam, and the word bina also means understanding. So the Gemara says bina yitara nadal nashim, right? An extra dose of they call it intuition. I think it's the wrong words. Intuition is actually it disrespects with me. Intuition is like, I have no idea, I've got no brain, but I just feel this is the right thing to do, right? And then I'll just paint my nails a bit more, and then I'll tell you what I think. It's not using the mind. No, the Torah is saying that a woman has a deeper understanding of things, of reality. She has a deeper insight. There are many reasons given in the Kabbalah. Like the woman, there's 4 mothers and there's only 3 fathers, because the 4th leg makes the table strong. On a 3-legged table can fall down. That 4th leg is the physical world that we're in, which a woman, she brings life into it. The baby comes through her. So she's much more connected to the real world. A man is much more abstract, generally speaking, when it comes to the things which he's good at. He's often in his thoughts. He has these great thoughts. He's there for half an hour thinking, I'm going to buy her the perfect diamond ring. I'm going to get this box. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to put a ribbon around it. I'm going to buy a card, and I'm going to put it in a special box and send it in a minicab to her. And I'm going to ring the phone, and it's going to. And then he wakes up. He was having a coffee and he dozed off for 2 minutes. He thought what he could do, and that's all it was, just a thought. So the thing is, a woman is much more in the real world. So the halacha is, if a woman says to a man, you should not hang around with this particular man, I don't have a good feeling about him, I think he's can't say lashon hara, I think he's a cheat, but I just feel, or I have an intuition, that's the word that's often used, but I'm saying it's much more than just an intuition, that actually he's not good for you. It's not a good relationship for you to be part of. You have to listen to your wife. So halakha. Because a woman has a greater insight, yeah, and it's not just a feeling, it's an insight. Okay, it's an insight into the reality of what's going on. She can see a situation, and by looking at it and measuring it and understanding it, she can accurately see things that the man can't see. Whether it's the body language, all the scientific ways you can try to say it. There's something about what she can do by taking information and processing it that a man can't do. Even if he drinks a beer like a Heineken, which is parts that the beers can't reach. Yeah. So that's the point of understanding that woman has a greater depth in reality, and therefore we have to respect that. Even if the man feels that that's not what I want to do, he's my friend, I want to hang out with him. No, I don't want him around. Obviously, you should ask a question to a rabbi. I'm not saying every case is the same, but in general, it's true that woman has a greater. Look at Hashem. He says to Avram Avinu, "Listen to Sarah. She's greater than you." Yeah. Well, Avram Avinu wasn't as great as Sarah. How can he make a mistake like that? How can he make a mistake with his own son? How can he be wrong like that? Yitzchak as well, right? Rivka tells Yaakov to go and do things, to trick Yitzchak because Yitzchak had it wrong. How can it be? Because the women have a greater insight. Okay, so we need to respect that as men because we don't see it. We honestly don't. It's the number of times my wife has told me things, and I in my mind disrespected her. And so she doesn't know what she's talking about. The childish way of looking at it. It's superficial. It's on the surface. She would see that. She always sees things like that, right? But I know better. I'm going to do it. Right? And then in my face. Absolutely. I realise after time she knows better, right? Particularly in the area of bringing up the kids. Particularly in the area of what's good for the children's education. Particularly in those areas, right? And it's okay. It's nothing. It's fine. Okay. The rabbis didn't mean it when they said this, right? This is extreme, right? But if it's an insight, I don't trust that person. I don't want him as a babysitter. Well, I'm only going for an hour. What can happen in an hour? It's unbelievable what can happen to a child. The damage that can be done. So at the end of the day, a woman her insights are stronger. That's what we're learning. Man's got to respect that, and if by doing so, appreciation gets ticked, right? Another area where the respect is very important is that there are many things that can make a woman cry very easily. Very easily. Like the Gemara describes how this man didn't come home after Yom Kippur, before Yom Kippur, as he normally did come home before Yom Kippur, he'd be learning all year long. And he had a question to ask the rabbi, and he tarried for a little bit longer, and because that his wife cried, and because she cried, there was a terrible tragedy. He actually died in the end, the Gemara says. But that's not the point. The point is that the woman should not cry. Everyone's going to cry. I'm telling you, 99.9% of women are going to cry in their marriage, right? They're going to cry probably in the first stages of just going out with the guy. It's absolutely what happens. I'm not saying it's normal or correct, but it's what happens. Yeah, if you didn't know that, believe me, every woman you ever speak to, I speak to quite often women with their problems, yeah, they cry. Probably my wife's cried because of me numerous times, yeah? And it's tragic because we don't want that to happen. You want your wife to cry because of you? No, what do you mean? I'm a woman causing her to cry person, That's not what I want to be. So, what do we do about that? So we have to learn to respect her opinions, right? Imagine you have to go to a funeral and the woman's crying and the man in England doesn't find it easy to cry, right? Maybe the Sephardi, they're a bit more emotional, quite often is the case, not always. But the English way is that you have to hold in your emotions, okay? Don't show it. So now what happens? She's crying and he's not. So he's thinking, oh, she's always crying, So what's he going to do? Let's get out of the mood. Let's go and get an ice cream. That's not going to really make her feel better right now. Okay, I'll give you a hug. He doesn't know what to do, right? The guy's struggling. He's struggling. Okay, so the first thing is to understand this concept of respect. It means she's feeling something. She's crying for a reason. I can't relate to it because I'm not crying when she is, right? So how's am I going to be able to go now and relate to what's going on in her mind, right? She's telling you a book that's not even real, or if it's a film, we can all relate to films, right? It's a film and there's a scene and it's just a film and she starts crying, right? And so it's just a film, it's not real. Why are you crying, right? So what are you going to say to her? oh, actually, it's silly to cry. You can't say that to her. You can say, okay, don't cry. That's the worst thing you can say. Don't cry. Because you're telling somebody not to feel what they're feeling. Right? So you're telling a person don't do what's happening. How can you tell a person that? You can't tell a person don't feel what you're feeling. I've got a cold. Don't feel a cold. I've got a cold, I'm sneezing, right? Yeah, just keep the window open and don't have any blankets and pretend that you're warm. That's not going to work, right? So the thing is to understand her. How do you do that? So think of what it's like for a man like that to cry. What's going to happen to really move him to make him cry? Right? Let him think in his life when he cried, when he was a younger child, whatever. How did it feel? Whatever it is, and however it's much more, it probably is extreme than just watching a scene in a film. That's what she's feeling right now. You understand? And so therefore, for me to relate to that, I have to respect her feelings. She's feeling just like how I felt when my best friend lost his parent. That was a really sad day for me. I'm just giving any example. Even a family relative, right? God forbid. So she's crying. She's doing the same thing that happened to the person, happened to me, right? So therefore, I've got to respect that. That's the idea of respect. It deserves respect. That is basically respect. So we had gratitude, importance, respect. The last thing to finish up the appreciation is language. Okay. Language so often is taken for granted by men. Okay, and even when I say this, I think, I'll just get this over with. It's not that important. The other ones are much more important. Because that's what I feel right now. It's like language. It's just like, who cares, right? But you'll see. I learnt from speaking to women and doing my homework that it really does matter to them. The way that I speak to them, apart from just the tones and the things we spoke about before, right? For example, you go on a shidduch, first time. How polite are you going to be? What kind of impression do you want to make, right? You wouldn't use certain words that are not appropriate. You wouldn't burp. You wouldn't let out any air. Imagine him having him in the middle of a restaurant. Yeah, and yet men will do this later on in marriage because I'm familiar with my wife now. So what does it make? I've accepted you. So we're familiar. You have to know every part of me, right? Everything about me. And if you don't know every part of me, then you're not really like my soulmate. Okay. So, but the problem is that is against giving her appreciation. That works against the appreciativeness, yeah? Because if a person wants to appreciate her, then we have to respect her. And also another way of respecting it is through my language, right? If I say things that she doesn't like to hear, like for example, someone told me today, right, using the word we, using I all the time instead of we, right, as an example, it will come into this category. And it's just something that bugs her. It could be anything. It could be anything. My friend got married. He moved to Israel. He married an Israeli, and they got married. He's a really, really learned guy. He's really learning seriously, learning through the day, night. He's really into his learning, and like a Tamid Chacham. And one day he says to his wife, "You're crazy. You're crazy. Well, don't say that. You must be crazy." So, in her broken English, she translates it as Metum Temet or Tembel or Ahabal or something really derogatory, and she's. Talmid Chacham, rabbi calling me like that. So she rang the rabbi. My husband's swearing obscenities against me. So I had to go and have a meeting with the rabbi. And so he said to me when I was in yeshiva, you have to be careful what you say because it's how she's hearing it. When I say to my friend, "You're crazy," no one cares. It doesn't mean much, right? It's just a euphemism. It's not really. And I actually think that he has to go now to the hospital, to the CAMS department, where they have a mental health section, and actually be assessed. That he might have to be sectioned with a section 3 and put into overnight care because he has to get a psychiatrist to see. Nobody means that when I say you're crazy. I don't really mean that, right? But for some people, they might be very, very sensitive to that. It could be there's somebody in their family who actually does have a mental health situation, right? A mental health problem. Or they may have had one when they were younger and no one knows about it. Or they might think that in their self-esteem that they're less than everyone else around them and they've got issues. And every time the husband, who's with her all the time, says to her, "You're crazy," she's thinking, "Yeah, I am crazy. I'm not going to tell him that," but and she just feels bad about it. In fact, we'll see when it comes to having a good fight, that there's certain things that if a man says it to a woman, is different if the woman says it to a man. Right? And this is one of them. If she says to him, "You're crazy," he's probably just going to think she's upset with me and she doesn't agree with me. If he says to her, "You're crazy," she might go to sleep actually thinking that he thinks that she's crazy, right? And it's much, much, much worse if he would turn around and say to her, "I want the D word, a divorce." God forbid. That's a word that must never be used, right? Because she now, for the rest of her life, will think, that's what he's really thinking all the time. It's in the back of his mind. Because he said it once. And I'm sure most of us, not all of us, probably have said it once, right? Because you've never heard this seminar until now. Right? But if the woman will say to the man even once, even 10 times, even 100 times, he doesn't necessarily think it's true. She's angry. She's emotional. She's a woman. She just said what she's feeling at that minute. It's going to change in 2 minutes from now. She'll feel something else. That's just fine. It's okay. It's life. So we'll deal with whatever, right? And it's out the window. But so we'll come back to that. We'll revisit that concept. But it's a very important concept. So therefore, language when speaking to a woman is very important. We have to respect her more so than a man. And a man doesn't really. It's not that important. Doesn't need it to be a happy husband. A woman needs it to be a happy woman. So we're going to now conclude this whole section. So man's job is to make his wife happy all the time. As we said, attention, we've explained, affection, and now the appreciation is the girl, gratitude, thanking her for the magic box and the other things as well. To find things to show. The more things you can find as a man to your wife, to say, "I appreciate you," right? Thank you for whatever it is. Obviously, if you say thank you, it's just 2 words. Someone says to you, "Thank you," and they give you a long list of the details of what it is actually they're appreciating. Obviously, much more meaningful. Yeah, thank you is just a general statement. So gratitude, important to value the things that she finds important in the context of making her feel appreciated. Respecting them. Okay, in other words, if she cries, we give an example, try and understand why she's crying and what that must feel like for me to cry, and now she's going through all of that. And then finally, language. Yeah, to use the kind of language that you would on a shidduch and keep that going all our lives, because really a woman throughout the marriage needs to be respected, and the language should be the language that respects her. Okay? I more or less know everybody over here really well. So but there are many people that I know with their husbands. They've got filthy mouths, and they're effing and being all the time, and the wives don't like it, and they're living with it for 20, 30 years, and then this carries on, and it's horrible. Have to live with that every single day, with the horrible words and swearing, and if a woman likes that, then it doesn't apply to what we're saying. But usually she doesn't, and she doesn't say anything about it, and it takes away the appreciation. Okay, that was all last week's session. Okay, we've got about 20 minutes. We're going to try and get into this session. Okay, today's session is now we've looked at the mechanics of what makes a woman happy. Okay, and we isolated to the 3 things: attention, affection, appreciation. And last week, you see that everybody agreed, as they usually do, that a woman would really be happy if a man would do that, but it's very difficult to learn how to do that, and we've given the tools. Please God, now we're going to have to just fulfill it. What are the tools that make a man to be really happy? What makes a man happy in life? What is it that he needs from his wife to make him into a happy husband? That's what we're going to look at. The answer is just really one thing. Okay? As I said throughout, you can argue with me, but we're generalizing because we find these are things that actually are common and they work. And that is his ego, a man's ego. Now, ego can mean have a very negative connotation. It could mean I'm a show-off and I just want to feel that I'm the greatest and whatever. I don't mean that. I don't mean I want to feel like I'm a superstar, because I'm not, okay? Right? But the ego means that in the context of the relationship, the man wants to feel that to his wife, he is the greatest hero in the world. That's what he needs. He needs to feel that. And if he isn't, then he's not doing his job. Do you get what I'm saying? Why did we make this session number 2 and that session number 1? Because even if the man is not the greatest superstar, right? But if he does his job, what's his job? Make his wife happy when? All the time. How? Attention, affection, appreciation. If he does that, then in her eyes, he should be that great superstar. Because he makes her so happy. You make me so happy. I married you, and I'm the luckiest wife in the world because you make me happy all the time. Okay? So therefore, if he does his job, he deserves an ego stroke. You need to say to him, you're the best husband in the world. I'm so lucky that I married you. You do it for me. It's just amazing, right? So the woman's job to make a husband happy is so simple. You just got to tell him he's the greatest husband all the time, right? Well, even if you don't do it all the time. But you must do it when he does his job. When he does his job, okay? If he doesn't do his job, what do you do then? What do? You don't give him an ego stroke, okay? But you don't have to scream and shout at him. You don't have to tell him he's a terrible husband, he's really bad, he's a failure, he married the wrong person. You know, none of that. You just give him a break. Okay? So that's the rule, and now we're going to go and explain it. The rule is, right, a husband needs an ego stroke, okay, when he does his job. Because when he does his job, it's true, you're not lying. Yeah? He's a really, really nice husband. He really makes me happy. Okay? And if he doesn't make me happy, because he's not doing his job, and he's not doing the 3 A's, you give him a break and say, okay, tomorrow, do your job. You do your job, and then I'll give you the ego stroke. And then how will you feel? Amazing, yeah, I want the ego stroke. You know, I want to feel that when I go out in the world. Wow, my wife values me. What would she do without me? She wouldn't cope even for 1 minute. Right? A man needs to feel that. Honestly, a man, we can all hide our heads, but all need to feel that. I can go in the world, I can take on big businessmen, I can argue with my charusa, I can go and fight in a boxing ring, you know, I can be Mr. Mafia, I can, anything, right? But if I leave the front door and my wife doesn't think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, I'm a schmatter. I'm nothing in the world. I can't even begin to be a human being because I feel so lonely about myself because my wife doesn't value me. The one person that's supposed to, it's the most painful if she doesn't. Yeah. If the rabbi that I mentioned before about Ari Pomensky, I remember he gave an example that he gave this big presentation to 300 people, and his wife was sitting in the audience, and everyone gave him a standing ovation at the end, and everything went very happy, and they went home. And then his wife said to him in the car, "You are really good today. You are really on form today. You are fantastic, right?" And his example was, there's no question about it, that comment to me was better than all the 300 people that were there. Because my wife believes in me, and that's what I need to function. I'm going home at the end of the day. I'm not taking another 300 people with me home. I'm taking my wife home with me. Okay? And if she believes in me, then that's it. We've got the greatest marriage. We're going a long way. We're working together as a team. Okay. So let's come back now and look at this a bit more in a more deeper way. That's the simple way to look at it. Okay, we're going to be looking at, and men can really enjoy it, all this ego stroking, etc. Okay. Men are not women. Do you agree or disagree? Right? Men are not women. Okay, so what are women? If you want to understand the difference between a man and a woman, okay, what's the difference between a man and a woman? What would you say? We kind of asked it last week, but we can do it again now.
Women are emotional.
Emotional, okay, I'm glad you agree. Okay. Men can be emotional, but generally speaking, women are far more emotional than men. I think everyone would agree with that. Why are women more emotional? What makes them emotional?
The relationship being.
Okay, but that's you're cheating now because you know the answer. I mean, but that's just a description. What is it that makes them emotional? Right? What is it about them that makes them?
Everything is related.
Everything's related, okay, yeah, but I'd say they're very sensitive. They're very, very ragish, you know. When Hebrew, they're a little thing, you know, they're sensitive to it. Men will, yeah, they're a bit tough, usually more tougher, okay. Men can also be very sensitive, but in general, women get affected more. As you said, they're relationship beings, and there's issues, and it's all connected, and that's, you know, it's just all part of it. But if we try to isolate the factors that make a woman, we'll say she's sympathetic, she's empathetic, she's multitask was mentioned last week, she's a good listener. Quite often men would like to speak to a woman about a problem because she'll listen. The other man will say, "Be a man, get up and get out of here, be a man." You can do better than that. Okay? But the woman was like, "Really? And how did that make you feel? Oh my goodness, it must have been so difficult for you. Wow, if I went through that, I don't know how I'd cope." Right? And then makes them good listeners. You know, if you learn counselling, you have to learn to be a woman, so to speak, to do the job, right? Because women naturally do that really well. They care. They feel connected. If a child comes and says, you know, if you see a child crying in the road, okay, you feel bad for the child. Like, oh my God, what happened to you? You know, and just get all involved with it. right? The man will say, where do you live? And take the guy home, the child home, or make a phone call and say, look, I don't know how to deal with this, but there's a crying child over here. What should I do? You know, your child is here, come and collect him. Like a piece of object, lost object. I'm generalising. Okay, obviously men should also say what happened to you, but we'll go deep into it. Oh, what did that boy, why did he do that to you? And what are all the details and everything? She can actually write a report on it. This is what they say, you know. Take 10 women and put them together in a group, and take 10 men and put them together in a group, right? And let them just mingle for 10 minutes and then bring them back. Okay. So you ask the women, can you tell us about the other women in the group? Sure, that's Rachel, and that's Judy, and that's, you know, and she's got 3 kids, and they go to this school, and the details will flow and flow and flow, and the men will start looking and go, oh my God, you didn't tell us we're going to have to do that, right? You didn't give me a list of the questions I had to ask. I don't know anybody's name in the group. I don't know what school they I don't know how many kids they've got. What do I care, right? That's interesting. It's like, you might say to them, where do you live? What car do you drive? You know, if you get onto jobs, maybe how much do you make? You know, I don't know. It's just not much more than that, really. The conversation is just be like, did you hear the headlines? You know, it's going to rain tomorrow. You know, I better park my car in the garage, not on the drive. I don't know, something really uninspiring. Yeah, but there's a difference between men and women. Okay, so. Women need to know, we said that there's 2 areas that really about this ego business, okay? A man needs this ego stroke much, much more than you think. That's what I have to say. Much, much, much more than you think. If a man doesn't get the ego stroke, he doesn't feel a man, okay? And you have to try it to understand it, okay? I'll give you an example. This again, Rabbi Pemensky, I remember that, it springs to mind. He was giving, he basically has an evening off. He described how he works very hard as a rabbi, etc. And he's got one evening off. One evening, which is his own evening, he can come home, chill out, you know, after he's done and prayed and everything. It's his evening of taking, you know, maybe open a book and start studying something, you know, in a relaxation way, without the pressure of preparing another shiur for another talk, for another drasha, right? Just wants to be a human being and do his own thing. So his wife comes and says, you know, tomorrow I'm going to do a presentation, I've got to give a shiur, maybe you can help me, I'm researching this topic. So he spends his entire evening just doing that, right? And he types it up and he makes it all ready for her and everything. So she comes home from whatever, she had to go to parents' evening, and she comes and she says, you know what, he says, here, look, I've done this for you. Wow, thank you very much, I really appreciate it. And they go to sleep and that's it. So what's he thinking? Thank you, that's it. Do you know what I did? Do you know the mountains I moved to get that ready? Do you know how much deep insights and how many pages of learning of Gemaras and explanations and I could have been sitting around doing nothing because it was my evening off and I did that all for thank you, that's it, thank you. Okay, all right. So he goes to bed and in his mind, you know, woman has a sixth sense. She realizes that he didn't get the ego stroke that he deserves, right? So he wakes up in the morning. He goes into to brush his teeth, and there's a post-it note saying, thank you really, I really do appreciate it. He goes downstairs, and the cereal box, big post-it note, I really appreciate it, right? And it's all around the house, thank you. He gets in the car in the middle of the steering wheel, there's a big post-it note saying, just one more time I want you to know, I really appreciate what you did for me. Okay, it's not the thanks, it's not feeling that I'm a really, you know, what's the word, a bal ga'ava, you know, a proud person, a haughty person. It's because the man wants to feel that he saved her life. She was abandoned on a desert island. He came there with the ship and everything, and a helicopter with a rope, and he pulls, remember the milk tray, right? Advert, if you remember that when you were kids, right? A man wants to feel that he's, you know, James Bond, right? Because without me, she can't function. Okay, I changed the light bulb. Remember the light bulb story? I changed the light bulb. Yeah, it's worth changing the light bulb. You know why? Because afterwards I'm going to feel amazing. Let me give you a really good example. I'm so happy I thought about this. Sometimes my parents ring me up and say, can you come and do something in the house? There's a problem. Maybe the tap is leaking. Usually I'll get the builder to do it. But sometimes they say, you know, there's something. Can you please come and deal with it? And I'm telling you, every time I've ever done a job for my mother, you cannot imagine the treatment. The cups of tea and the food. Oh, my son, what will I do without you? You're so good, you're so clever. You know, Hashem gave you the brains and you always help us. And it's just such a pleasure to do the job. I can't tell you. It's like, oh, wow, I want to go and do a job for my mom, you know, my dad. Like, got something wrong in the house and it's like you haven't even started, you are going to clear up afterwards, right? You're not going to leave a mess because you know your job's what they like. You do the washing up and you make a bigger mess. I've got to go and do the whole thing again, right? It's like there's no cups of tea. There's no like, wow, you sorted it out, thank you. It's just like, all right, you did what you're supposed to do. You're the husband of the man of the house, right? That is the difference between an ego stroke and not having an ego stroke. Okay, and if a woman would realise how it helps a man to feel like a man and how to feel happy to make him happy, like he makes her happy, he has to make her happy, she would do it. The man, look, yeah, I want you to do it, right? Because it feels really good. So I'm saying, don't just do it if it doesn't warrant it. But we know how to make it to warrant it. 3 A's, attention, affection, appreciation. He does his job, give him the ego stroke, go to town on it. Let him be a man. He'll do 10 times more attention, affection, appreciation after that because he's gonna feel it's worth doing it. How many times men say to me, "It's just not worth it." It's like I'm living alone in the relationship. I do it. I'll do the 3 A's. Yeah, Rabbi, I'll do it. I'm telling you, it'll make no difference whatsoever in the relationship. She won't give me an ego stroke. So what's the point? So if I do it, I don't do it. There's economies of scale which is really confusing because every time you do the washing up, so you think, wow, okay, she really thanked me. But if I do it too often, then it will become expected. And if it becomes expected, then I won't get the appreciation. I won't get the thanks. I won't get the ego stroke. So it's, I won't do it all the time so that when I do it, it will really be appreciated. Okay? Does that make sense? Obviously not, because I'm doing it less. If I really love her, I want to do it more. Why should she have to do it all the time? Okay, by the way, in my house, my father always does the washing up. I'm still trying to emulate my father. Okay, but do you see the point is I'm saying is that we get caught up in all these mind games and don't keep it instead of keeping it simple, right? But in this case, if the woman would always give an ego stroke, that's really amazing ego stroke, the man would always run to do the washing up. I mean, honestly, I'm telling you, if I knew the pleasure that my wife would get by me doing the washing up and it would be in front of my face all the time, of course I would spend 5 or 10 minutes doing it because I'm going to feel so good afterwards. Yeah? Well, what do I rather do? Sit down and do nothing and space out and read an article on the web about some unimportant fact about melons or something, right? Yeah? Or have my wife tell me that I'm the most amazing man in the whole world, right? For 10 minutes she's going to tell me that because I did some silly washing up. Obviously I'm going to want to do that. It feels great, yeah? It's like I was saying when I go to my parents' house, I do something, I feel such a big mitzvah. If an old lady would now knock on my door and say, Rabbi Nissim, my light's gone, I've got in darkness, right? Can you come and change my light bulb? I'd run to do it. Because she's going to be so appreciative. Because it's such a big mitzvah. Because she needs it, right? So why is it when my wife tells me to do something, I don't have the same feeling? Oh, she shouldn't even need to tell me to do it, okay? I should just do it because, right? So the answer is because I don't have the incentive, because I don't, it's not on my mind, I'm a man and I forget. And we'll see in the next session, please God, yeah, hopefully next week, that women assume that men know so much about what's going on in their heads, and they don't. So if she would say it to him, do the washing up, she's thinking, I'll attempt to do it and he won't do it and I'll get rejected. So maybe I'm going to just do it myself and slave it through it. Yeah? Because it's easier emotionally to deal with that than to try and get him to do something that he should already have known. So I just live with the suffering. Okay? So we're saying the answer to all these problems is so simple. It's so simple. She should learn to give him the ego stroke. He'll feel amazing and he'll want to do it next time. And then he'll do the 3 A's and he'll do his job and she'll be happy and he'll be even happier when he gets the ego strokes. And if not, we're going to give him a break to not give him the ego stroke so he realises that I want to come running back to do it better next time.
How do you break the cycle? Because the women, right, will have a certain way that they do things and yeah, how do you encourage it? That, they feel that they're going to get something out of it.
It should never be. I tried to explain last week that the different parts of the psyche, which is, and the Kabbalah explains it, how some of it is just doing it because we get something. It's not really doing it l'shem shamayim, like for altruistic reasons. Yeah, we always think in order for me to function in the world, I need to get married, so I'll have a wife, and it has to fit my lifestyle, and so she has to do this, and I'm just doing it because I'm getting something. Right?
I didn't mean it in that
way.
I'm
not starting this. I'm saying it for a reason. And therefore we don't like, and we shouldn't really like the idea of I'll do something and get something. We should do it because it's the right thing to do, not because, you know, if I give her this and she'll give me that, and our relationships is all based on that, especially in the Western world. You give me money, you know, to go out to shopping and whatever, they get allowances, one gets a certain allowance every month, and I'll do my job and I'll be a good wife, right? And if not, I'm going to make you suffer, right? So that's not the right way to do it, okay? The right way to do it is to do what my duty should be, the correct thing to do, right? To work it sincerely because it's the right thing, okay? Now tell me again what you were saying.
Well, what I mean is, how do you get someone to the realization that there's actually a benefit of doing that ego stroke? You know, that they'll feel the benefits of it. Do you understand what I mean? It's not that you're going to get something.
I'm going to say to you, it's really hard.
Self-propagating.
I said to you, the tools in this course are really simple, but implementing them is a real challenge, because you're absolutely right. It sounds so simple, right? So then why doesn't the woman do it? In this case, last week was why the man doesn't do it. Why the woman do it? Because it's not natural to her to do it. She doesn't really believe it's going to make that much difference. It's that important. When we said a plant won't grow unless you put water in it, and a woman won't feel happy unless you give her attention, affection, and appreciation, a man cannot feel happy and successful if he doesn't get an ego stroke.
Maybe just think about that, and it's so easy. That's how it sounds.
Try it.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Here's your husband. He's saying to you, "How do I tell my wife that's what she should do?" And it's not your fault. It's not his fault. We were not taught this. Okay. We have created a seminar. It's not only my information, stuff I've got from many other places, because it really does make a difference. And it's so simple. And even I'm telling you, you'll go home and hear this, right, and think it was great. You have to do it. It really, really works.
I think it's because we're so busy. Like when he does something, I think in my head, "Thank you so much," but I haven't seen him, and then it takes a long time. Then I've forgotten, and then he'll bring it up and say, "You didn't say thank you," but I did think about it. But we're so busy, we just...
So I'm saying to you today, this is so important. From everything in the whole... Look, if I would have said to you, what do you think I'm going to say makes a man happy, right? You'd give me a list of any... Who knows what would be on that list, right? Food, you know, nice words, intimacy, money, right? I don't know, love, you know, a whole list of things, right? And I said, everything forget. One thing, just one thing, an ego stroke, right? And look how it's made us all really think about it, how true it is. Yeah, I had to go through that process as well the first time I heard it. Okay, it's not natural to think about it, but so what can you do to give him this ego stroke? The second you feel happy about something, write it down. Write it down. But you've got memo things in the phone, or whatever. This is what they were created for. Hashem made all this technology just that will act, because it's amazing what it's going to do for him. It is really amazing what it's going to do for him when this comes through. I mean, if I'm thinking I'm working through the day, and you know, let's say I gave a good shir. Somebody sends me a text, "Rabbi, it was really nice shir. Thank you so much." I feel good. Okay, Baruch Hashem. You can all do that, by the way. No, I'm joking. Right. If my wife sends me, I'm saying that for a reason, because if my wife will send me a text completely arbitrarily, she doesn't want anything, it's not because I'm giving a lift or picking her up from somewhere far away and she needs something from me, and so therefore suddenly I'm the good guy and she wants to thank me. It's completely arbitrary. She says, "You know something, I just remembered that you did something to me last week, and at the time I really appreciated it, and I forgot to tell you. I just want you to know, I just remembered, so that you know, you're amazing," right? You know how I would feel from that? Every man, how he would feel from that.
Just knowing that your wife loves you, that's just...
It's appreciation, but it's not the same appreciation that we said before with the 3 A's.
No.
That appreciation is just for a woman to know that she was not, she's there, she's not transparent. You understand? That she's there and it's being noticed. Yeah? Here, it's not the man doesn't want to be noticed. The man wants to feel, I am a king. My wife doesn't make me into a king. Who's going to make me into a king? No one. Right? Only my mum. Maybe my mum. Right? Yeah. So then why is it I want to go and spend time in my mum's house and not be at home? Right? Because I'm going to feel like a king. Right? The best is when we used to come down from Leeds to visit London. And my mum